Hello YouTube, Liz here. I'm coming to you on January the 11th, 2020, and I wanted to welcome you to my Liz's Book Club. So, the first book that I wanted to talk about comes from a series by Betty Hechtman. And Betty Hechtman writes cozy mysteries. She started out writing cozy mysteries, and they're crochet cozy mysteries. I didn't know what a cozy mystery was until I looked into it a little bit, and I found out that there's a whole genre of mysteries that are centered around different hobbies. So they have pastry chefs solving crimes, they've got knitters, quite a few knitters solving crimes, but I didn't find any crocheters until I ran across Betty Hechtman. And her first series, let's see, I don't remember the year she started, but I started reading them several years ago. And she has about 11 or 12 books in her crochet mystery series. She's got Hooked on Murder, Dead Men Don't Crochet, By Hook or By Crook, A Stitch in Crime, You Better Not Die, K-N-O-T, Behind the Scenes, Seams, If Hooks Could Kill, For Better or Worsted, Not Guilty, K-N-O-T, Seems Like Murder, S-E-A-M-S, like murder, Hooking for Trouble. So this book is called A Tangled Yarn. Betty Hechtman, H-E-C-H-T-M-A-N. And she has a website, bettyhechtman.com. I'll put it in the description box below so you can go to it and see her series in the order that they are in. That was the way they were ordered in the index of this book, so I think that's probably chronological. But I really enjoyed her series. They're easy reading. It's not a lot of, there's nothing scary or bad in it. There's no graphic detail. I've read some authors before. I just, I'd be reading the series and it just got more and more graphic, and I just thought, I don't really want to sit here and gross myself out or make myself upset reading these stories. So I like these nice, gentle, cozy mysteries. And this one comes in a series. It's like after she did quite a few of the crochet mysteries, she started a yarn retreat mystery series. And the books in that series are Yarn to Go, Silence of the Lamb's Wool, Wound Up in Murder, Gone with the Wool, and this one, A Tangled Yarn. So this is her newest series. This one was published in 2017. She might have another one out. I haven't checked yet. I haven't been able to read much because of my cataracts, so I kind of put my books aside. And the other day I wanted to make room for some of my supplies for tatting, and I had to shuffle some books around so I could have a shelf space for my new tatting books. And I decided to completely clear out my book cabinet. And in there I found my, I consider them knitting and crochet book. I have knitted before. I do know how to knit. I just don't enjoy it that much. But I don't mind reading the mysteries that are knitting related. So anyway, Betty Hechtman, A Yarn Retreat Mystery, and this character in this particular series' name is Casey. And Casey's a young woman who's kind of been lost and aimless, and her aunt passes away. And the setting is in Del Mar. Let's see, it's Vista Del Mar, which is on the Monterey Peninsula. So it's a beautiful setting, and it's Vista Del Mar is a hotel, and she's inherited her aunt's house after she passed away, and it's right across the street from the hotel. And her aunt had started a yarn retreat every, I don't know how often they have it. Maybe, I can't really tell from what I've read, how often, if she does it every few months or every year. But anyway, it's all fiction. And so she's taken it over, and she knew nothing about crocheting. She knew nothing about knitting. She knew nothing about yarn, and she knew nothing about how to handle the people. So that were coming to these, that were expecting to come. I think her aunt already had one planned when she passed away. She passed away in an accident. That's a whole nother story. So that figures into some of the plot. And she has a cat. And she never had a pet before. The cat kind of adopted her. So it's really fun. It's lighthearted. You know, there's a murder, so bad things has happened, but it's not graphic, and it's not upsetting, and it's not scary or anything like that. So I enjoyed it, and I thought that maybe some of you might as well. So I think that all of them have in her retreats, when she has people coming to the retreats, they have a theme that they're working on, and at the end of the book, each book, she gives the pattern and the recipes that are involved with the book. So it's kind of fun because you can read about all this, and I tend to, when I read something that I really enjoy, I kind of get involved with the characters, and not involved, but I start to kind of, they kind of become like friends or real people. It's kind of hard to describe, but it's like in this fantasy world, or this fiction world, let's put it that way. I don't like to really think about fantasy because that's more like sci-fi to me, and I haven't really read sci-fi, but fictional characters, it's kind of like you get to know them or something, and when you finish the book, you're like, oh, what are they going to do next? And I wonder what's going on. And then she writes the next book, and so it's really fun. And the back of the book talks a little bit. I don't want to give away too much of the plot, but it says Casey has her hands full with preparations at the Vista Del Mar Hotel on the scenic Monterey Peninsula as another yarn retreat begins. The retreaters will be thrown for a loop this time, learning the trendy art of arm knitting and finger crocheting. So it's current, it's relevant. It's like a lot of people are using the big yarn now. So that's kind of fun. And then Casey is a baker. She likes to bake, and she sells the thing. She goes home at night after these retreats, or just when she's not having a retreat, she bakes for a local restaurant. And so she's gotten to be kind of known in this little town that she's moved to as she makes muffins. So in this particular book, let's see, the recipe in the back is Lieutenant Borgnine's Almost Apple Fritter Muffins. So there's that. And then Wanda's 4-for-1 knit patterns are in here. So it's not all crocheting, there's knitting too. So for people that kind of enjoy both crafts, it touches on both. But Betty Hechtman's original series was all about crochets. They were in her original series, her Crochet Mysteries, the main character was working at a bookstore, and they had like a meeting room in the bookstore where I guess once a week or something people would come and sit together and knit and crochet. And so all of the dynamics that go along with that, and there would be a murder, so she solved it, or tried to solve it. She solves it. And those stories developed, but this is completely separate from the plot line of Betty Hechtman's Crochet Mysteries. So if you're out and about, or if you're on Amazon, or I got mine from the library, local library. This particular book I bought online because I wanted it right away at the time. I ended up ordering it from Thrift Books, and I got it very inexpensive, but I ordered it online, and you can find some of her books on Overdrive. I don't know if everybody has access to the digital libraries. I have a library card at my local library, and I live in a small town, so the library is not real big, but it is connected to the Phoenix Digital Library, so I can access books and put them on my Kindle. And I use Libby is the app. So on the Libby app, you put in your library card number and you access the digital database that goes with your library card, and then you can, if the book's available. I have asked for a couple of her books to be brought to the physical library here nearby, and they borrow them from other libraries and they send them to this library, and then I go pick them up and I get to use them for a couple of weeks and then take them back. So just like a regular library, but interlibrary loan. I'm sure you're all familiar with that. I couldn't think of the word. So anyway, that's a start on the books that I have. I have more, and I just thought that if you all are interested in, I do, when I'm crocheting, I have listened to audiobooks before, and you can get some of the books, I believe, as audiobooks. I like to read them myself, and I like to have a book in my hands. Yes, I read on my Kindle, but I don't know, I just really like to have a book in my hands. I have adapted to Kindle a little bit, but it's nice. I like being able to order the digital. Since I don't drive, it's hard for me to get to the library. It's not as convenient as just going on the Libby app and getting a book and downloading it and keeping it for a couple of weeks, and then it automatically goes back. If I forget to send it back to the library, it's never overdue. It'll go back on its own, so that's kind of neat too. Anyway, I hope that you will check out Betty Hechtman. I don't know her. She doesn't know me. I'm not in any way affiliated with her, and I just think that it's kind of fun every once in a while to take a break and read. Sometimes my hands get sore and from crocheting too much, and when they do, it's nice to take a break and read. And on my Kindle, I can make the font bigger, so it's easier for me to see. But I bought this book before my cataracts became a problem. So the next book the next series that I'll talk about in my next video is The Friday Night Knitting Club by Kate Jacobs. And I'll leave you with that. So happy crocheting, happy reading. If you're a knitter too, happy knitting. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.